Hello viewers, welcome back again in my channel. I am Indojit here. Today I am going to explain the another topic of research. So today I am decide that I will explain the sampling types. So let's start. According to Blalock in 1960, he also classified the sampling in two categories. So sampling, sampling types. So these two categories sampling also are number one probability sampling method and number two is non-probability sampling method. So number one is probability sampling method. And number two, non-probability sampling method. Sampling. So today we know about the only probability sampling. So this probability sampling has some categories or sub categories. So at first we disclose those sub categories. So number one, the probability sampling. Probability sampling sub categories are number one, simple random sampling. Simple random sampling. Number two, stratified random sampling. Number three, area or cluster sampling. And number four, multi-stage sampling. So those are the categories or subcategories of probability sampling. So today know about those subcategories and know about the probability sampling. So probability sampling is a method when a researcher collects some data from his selected areas. Of those selected areas of the researcher, which is the probable and which is the possibilities to collect the data from this area, those are the probability sampling. So now we know about the subtypes of the probability sampling. So number one is simple random sampling. So this simple random sampling is a n unit. When a researcher collects some data from his selected areas or select some society, that time he use the data or will be randomly selected. So he cannot be manipulated data on that times. He randomly collect the data of this society and of his selected area. So in this session, simple random sampling we can categorize in two types. Number one is lottery method and number two is the random table method. So we know the lottery method and random table method. So when we collect some data from our selected area, that times we have no clear cut idea about this data, that times we use the lottery method. So those lottery method we use to collect the data, Next is the random table method. So when the lottery method has some errors, that times we use the random table method. So this is the probability sampling types of number one is simple random sampling, and those are the two subcategories. And next we know about the stratified random sampling. So this stratified random sampling also said that this stratified also be divided into started or steps. When we collect some data from the society or from the selected areas, that times we aware about this, the selected data will be some strata or stratified. So like some religious, some caste, some gender. So this is the strata. When the researcher collects some data from these selected areas or others, so he must be aware for his collecting data. As well as this stratified sampling also category in two types. So number one is proportionate stratified random sampling, and number two is the disproportionate stratified random sampling. So we know about the proportionate stratified sampling. When the researcher collects some data from the selected area, that time he must be aware of his collecting data, and as well as he creates some ratio functions of this collecting data, and it is also based on the population systems. But in other side, the disposition stratified random sampling, there is no mentions about the ratio systems of this collecting data. So this is the main categories of main difference or main two categorical difference of this simple stratified random sampling methods. Next we know about the area or cluster sampling. So this word area or clusters is included. That area means you are the researcher and you want to view a selected area and you want to find the population and you want to take sample from those selected area. So this is the area basis, and this is the cluster. This is the area basis, and you have collected some data from this selected area. So this is the area or cluster sampling. And lastly we know about the multi-stage sampling. So multi-stage sampling is a huge area, but in this here you are the researcher and you selected this all areas is like a small parts, like a blocks. Like for example, you are a researcher and you are selected a specific area for your collecting data, and you also narrow this area for your research work. So this is the multi-stage sampling. So today we have learned about the sampling types, about the probability sampling. Today we know about the non-probability sampling. So we disclose the only probability sampling. Those are the simple random sampling, stratified random sampling, area or cluster sampling, and the multi-stage sampling. So those sampling types also decided here. So class, today I am end this session here. Next day I will come with a new topic of research. So take care. Bye.